So I don't know if you've noticed, but there are a lot of neighborhoods in New York City. So if you think about all the neighborhoods in all 5 boroughs, I mean, we're talking about hundreds and hundreds of neighborhoods. It can be really, really overwhelming to figure out what neighborhood is right for you when trying to move to New York City. Or honestly, even if you're already living in New York City, it's still tough to figure out if you're in the right neighborhood for you, or if there is a better neighborhood for you. I think New Yorkers are always trying to figure this out, honestly. So how can you learn what New York City neighborhood is going to be best for you? So there's a few recommendations that I typically have when working with people as a real estate agent. I always recommend spending time in the neighborhood you're considering during the day and at night, all times of the day. And the reason why is because a neighborhood might look one way during the day and it might look another way at night, and vice versa. So you have to kind of evaluate who you are and what you care about and think if that neighborhood is going to be the right fit for you based on what you're seeing during all these different times of the day. How do you do that? So it's not always as easy said as done, right? Because, is that the saying? I think so. Because think about it. If you're moving to New York City and you don't live close by, it might be hard for you to spend time in these neighborhoods that you're considering. But I highly suggest making a trip, staying with friends, booking a hotel if you can, or an Airbnb, whatever it really takes to be able to just spend time in that neighborhood. And even if you can't stay in the neighborhood that you are considering living in, at least go to that neighborhood and spend time during all different times of the day in that neighborhood, and then go back to wherever you're staying. I really, really suggest doing this, and it's honestly something that even for me, growing up in Connecticut right outside of New York City, I regret not doing this sometimes with certain neighborhoods that I've lived in. Like, I should have spent more time there at all times during the day. So another thing to consider is that you can't always base your decision off of other people's decisions and other people's preferences. So a lot of times when people are coming to New York City, they see vloggers, YouTubers talking about neighborhoods that they love. And they assume that because this person that they idolize or like they follow loves this neighborhood, that they're gonna love it too. That may be the case. You may be just as in love with the neighborhood as they are. Most of the time though, what someone else loves is not going to be exactly what you love. Every person is different. And I argue with some of my friends to this day about certain neighborhoods that they love that I'm like, I don't think I could ever live there. But I see also why they love it for their personality. So every person is completely different. And this is why it brings me back to my first point. I think that you personally have to spend as much time as you can in the neighborhood. You can't just go off of what other people are recommending. Even if you have a friend or know somebody living in the city, I don't even like completely taking their suggestions. You could start with their suggestions and then go try to see it, get a feel for it yourself. But I don't like blindly going in with other people's suggestions, even my own. As a real estate agent, I do not just like to tell people in the neighborhood and have them blindly trust me. I think we still need to go see it in person. You still need to spend time there at all different times of the day, even though I'm a professional that is telling you this. So you have to get a feel for it yourself, and you can't just trust what other people are saying, not because the people aren't trustworthy, because everyone's opinion is different. So this is how I recommend all my clients pick a neighborhood that they want to live in. Now, if you guys have followed any of my content, you probably know that I am a huge believer that the neighborhood that you select to live in is probably more important than the actual apartment that you pick. I think a neighborhood can make or break your experience in New York City. And like I said, that preference is going to be different for everybody. Everyone is going to have a different favorite neighborhood. But if you are living in a neighborhood that you hate, you might not like living in New York City, and it might not be New York City as a whole. It might just be that you picked the wrong neighborhood. You're not in the right spot for you. I see this all the time with people that I work with, all the time. They think that they don't like New York City, and it's actually that they just didn't have the right neighborhood for them. We moved them somewhere else, and they had a completely different experience. So I really want you to think about this when finding the right neighborhood for you. And I want you to take your time and really see if you can spend any time in that neighborhood. Now, if you guys have anything to share or have any other questions like about this topic, please let me know in the comments, because as always, I love hearing from you guys.